Good afternoon and welcome to the We Can Do It Women movement, where women 60 and wiser step into the spotlight and make the rest of their lives the best of their lives. I'm your host, Debra Morrison, a wealth building expert and champion for extraordinary women just like you. For over 47 years, I've helped women secure their financial futures, and now I'm on a mission to ignite a revolution. Yep, showing the world at 60, 70, and beyond, we're not slowing down. We're just getting started. Today's We Can Do It Women expert interview features Sue Loncaric from down under Queensland, Australia. Sue, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Deborah, for having me, and I'm delighted to be here.
Exactly. Well, we are most delighted to have you join us, and we are going to be blessed with a whole bunch of your expertise. But for our listening and viewing audience, I am going to introduce you in terms of some of your professional and personal prowess. And then we're going to get into, hopefully, a wonderful conversation, which I have every confidence we will. So Sue comes to us. She's ahead of us. It's already Friday morning by her. And she's the founder of Women Living Well After 50. She's dedicated to empowering women over 50 to live happy, healthy, and fulfilling lives. And she lives in Surfers Paradise, Queensland, Australia. Holy camoli, is that beautiful or what, Sue?
Yes, it's a lovely area, and it's on the Gold Coast in Queensland. And we've actually just been through a cyclone over here, so the poor Gold Coast beaches have been eroded terribly. And it was only last week, so everyone sort of, fortunately, we were okay, but everyone is going through the cleanup. There was lots of rain and flooding post cyclone, so it was a trying time because it was once in 50-year event here in the southeast part of Queensland. So we were all quite anxious before that arrived.
Oh, I can't even imagine. Well, we're going to send some prayers that the cleanup continues and people can start to replenish the beach and to bring themselves back, like into this synced place, because that kind of thing, those externalities, as much as we say that's external, our peace comes from within. Well, our peace is also affected by externalities. And so we're sending good vibes and restorative juju your way, and that of all residents of Queensland. At 50 years old, Sue started running. And at 55, she started running marathons. And I think last I checked, you had 3 as of 2020. How many have you run, Sue?
I've run about 4, actually. I did one at 55 and then 3 in my early 60s. So I'll never say never, but I'm not sure that I've got another one in me. It's mainly half marathons now, but I achieved that goal, and that was something that I really wanted to prove to myself more than anything else, that once you hit 50, life really just begins. And when you hit 60, it gets even better.
I love that. Of course, you, yes, we're kind of like, I aim like for 60 and north, kind of, Sue, because of the socialization, at least in the United States, of 60-year-olds was very, very different and more damning, I might add, than that of younger women, such that I wanted to kind of go to the biggest need, if you will. And that's why I said 60, but we're welcoming all women of all ages into our Facebook group, and we are delighted to have you speak to the entire range of mature women, which I call wise women. So you are now, this whole thing has morphed you to becoming a group fitness instructor and personal training. Now that you're 60, you're a wife, a mother, and a grandmother, and you are a life wellness coach. Sue's passion is helping women embrace a healthy, active lifestyle on their terms and to start living life in full bloom. You can explain to us why you chose that, or those words, Sue, as your words of the year for 2025.
Well, actually, it chose me. I've been selecting a word of the year for several years now, and that works for some people and it doesn't work for everyone. And I'm of the opinion that I do what's right for me. I look at everything out there.
Oh, sorry. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I'm sorry, Sue.
No, that's okay. That's all right. I'm fine.
Okay. I didn't
Yeah.
unmute you. I apologize. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So I was looking at, towards the end of a year, I start to think and plan about what I want from my life for the next year. I'm a list girl and I do like to have some sort of plan, because otherwise I think that, life is not getting any longer. So we have to make the most of our time. And I think I read it somewhere, and the word bloom just kept coming back to me. And I was thinking about it, and I thought, we're going through our lives where we start off as a child, and then we grow and we mature. And finally, at this stage of life, we can bloom. We've gone through all the hard work of growing and making ourselves strong, and now it's time for us to bloom. And even though bloom can fade and die off, I'm one of those that we just keep blooming. We might go off for a little bit and then we come back to bloom. So life is all about just taking what you can and blooming in your way, finding that joy, the sparks of joy I write about every week that come into my daily life. And they might only be little things, but they certainly build up together to give you that life where you're happy, contented, and having a purpose. So that's why I chose Bloom for this year. I've had Thrive, I've had many other words throughout the time, but for me, Bloom just keeps coming up, and living life in full bloom. So that's where I'm at for 2025.
Well, I am in full alignment with you. And of course, the color that you're wearing is beautiful, and beautiful on you, I will add. And it is filled with all kind of optimism for me in any event. You eschew traditional one-size-fits-all fitness models, right? No. You are zeroing in with comprehensive and what you've called age-appropriate activities for women 50 and wiser. Talk to us about how you incorporate that, and it's obviously pretty impressive because clients stick with you. So tell us about some of those focuses on fitness later in life, custom exercise plans you have.
Well, I think we have to understand that as we age, our bodies are aging, and we have to accept that. So what I fought against for quite a number of years, probably in my 50s, was that because I don't feel my age, I'll be 68 this year, most of us don't feel the age that we are. Yes. If we compare ourselves to our previous generations, our mothers and grandmothers, 50 was considered old.
Yes,
but now it's just the beginning. But we can fall into that trap of feeling that we still can be working out and doing the same things that we did 20 years ago. Okay. And our bodies need different things now. Our bodies, as we age, we need to have strong bones. We need to have the strong bodies so that we can cope with our daily activities, that functional fitness, being able to bend down, to stand up, to reach, to carry your luggage, because we all want to travel, don't we? So, being able to stay independent for as long as we can. And so, we see so many things on social media where try this, try that, do this, 50,000 push-ups. And in the past, I would have said, only 50,000? Do you want me to do 50,001? Whereas these days, I've got a more balanced approach. And I do try to work out every day. I have a Facebook group that's full of women my age. There's a core small group of us, and we motivate each other every day to do some sort of movement. And for me, I think that a lot of women are scared about, what do we do? Oh, I can't do that. Like, for example, running. You don't have to run. I love running. That's what I do as part of my health and wellness. But that might not work for you, Deborah. You
Right.
might like something else. So the important thing, I think, is to find something that you really love to do. And that will get you started, especially if you haven't moved for a while.
Yes.
You need to be moving your body. And so for me, to get started, it's small steps. You can't expect to be running a marathon tomorrow,
Yeah.
or whatever, or lifting heavy weights today. You
Yeah.
have to start somewhere, but you do have to incorporate some resistance training, some heart health. So that's a bit of brisk walking or anything to get your heart rate up, cycling, swimming, some strengthening, flexibility. And just recently, I've been incorporating more mobility exercises into my workout routine, because my joints, I need to keep them supple. I need to be able to move my joints easily so we can do all the things we want to do.
Right, right. Well, I'm glad you started to drill in, because I was going to invite you to do just that. So the strength training, like I was reading on some of perhaps your blog, a couple times a week. You're
Yes,
wanting
yes,
strength training. Just give us a couple of ideas. As now, is this with the band, Sue, or or with
yeah,
actual
yeah. It's
weights, hand weights?
you either body weight. If you've not lifted any weights before, so strength training is resistance. So you're using something to, that's got a bit of resistance in it, that's going to make your muscles work. But your body is the perfect tool to start with. You can do squats, you can do, which are important. You can do sit to stand if you can't do squats. So you're sitting on a chair, you're standing up. Lots of exercises can be modified for your level. And there's so many things out there, even on the internet. But I would say, when you're looking at YouTube and things like that, they have great workouts on there. Just think about who the trainer is and what they're doing. If they're not giving you age appropriate modifications, then you might need to find something else. But there's a lot of videos and that out there for over 55. Now, if you've been doing it for a long time, well, obviously you're going to be able to challenge yourself more. But we need that strength training to maybe 3 times a week. You can use your body weight, like weights, hand weights, or you can use those resistance bands, as you showed as well. So there's different ways, and my way is to try and keep it varied. Do a variety of workouts, because otherwise you're going to think, oh, I've got to do, 10 bicep curls, and you do that twice a week, every week. And after a while, you get a little bit tired of that. So, and then you'll give up. So
Yes.
you've got to be able to incorporate things that are easy to fit into your life,
Yes.
that you can cope with if you haven't done it for a while. And that, it must be for your, as I said, I'll keep coming back to strength training, but that's one of the most important things as we age. We've got to keep our bodies strong. That helps us to avoid falls, or when we fall, we're not going to break a hip. So strength training is 2 to 3 times a week. Over here in Australia, we have the recommended heart health is 150 minutes of exercise a week. Now, that could be 30 minutes a day for 5 days. It could be whatever over the week, but it's getting your heart rate up, getting your heart rate pumping. And so we've got to put that in. And as I said, a bit of flexibility. So yoga, daily stretching, just little gentle stretching movements to keep your body flexible, and the mobility exercises that will keep your joints working and supple.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, the cardio for sure, getting our heart. So talk to us about the person that's really not doing a regime, if you will, that they are comfortable with. When we start lifting weights, for example, I have 2 pounds, and then I have 2 pounds and 3 pounds and then 5 pounds. So when we're doing curls, for example, we want to maybe add one or two, like every week, or what, go until you feel a little burn. Tell us
yeah.
when we do more.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, if you've not started, if you haven't done weight training before, you need to start with your body weight. Okay. Forget adding anything in, because your body has to get used to the strength. And as I said, your body weight is a good workout anyway. So squats, lunges, things like that, plank, where you can really push ups off your bench, at the kitchen. You don't have to do those push ups, up on your toes. You just can do them on the bench. So there's modifications there. Once you start feeling that that's getting a little bit too easy, or it's not challenging, then you start adding in the weight, and you start with lightweight. Yes. And again, the idea is that especially if you start adding on, it's going to be longer for you to be able to go up in weight, because, it gets more challenging. But the idea is that if you've got, for example, 10 bicep curls, lose those, and you get those 10 out with no problem, that's the time you need to go up in weight.
Okay. Excellent. I know some women particularly are a little nervous, like, oh, if they do too many extra weights, then they'll have, like, unsightly arms or something. But I'm always like doing this up and then holding it out a little bit. It just because it feels like, the stronger I get, the better.
Yeah. But look, everyone has that. You don't want to look like Arnie Schwarzenegger. You would have to be working out, lifting such heavy weights, several hours a day, every day. So, I'm 2 to 3 times a week is not going to overdevelop your muscles, but you're going to bring in a bit of tone to them, a bit of muscle definition, and with the light weights as well. It's more about just making your muscles work so that your body stays strong.
And so I think then we can probably put that into the excuse column.
Well, we could. Yeah. Oh, no, I don't want to look like that. Yeah, of course. Or I can't start today because I don't have any weight.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
You've got your body.
Okay, yeah, some of us hit us right in the middle of the forehead. Okay, so you wrote just on your March 3rd edition that you took a run around Sydney Harbor, and I quote you saying, "It reminded me how important it is to take time out to recharge our bodies so that we can thrive and bloom," 2 of your good words, now and into the future. Because this is also an exercise, and it seems so logical, and yet sometimes it ellipses us, that if we want to plan. Right. I plan for people's future financially, typically, and you're just basically saying, not just basically, you are saying we're planning for the long term and to be as mobile and independent as possible. Then I'll come back to the quote. "Having time away also gave me some inspiration for my monthly wellness reimagining post. I like to provide information, inspiration, and motivation around ways we can age and enjoy life well. I like to include a progress of my own goals." Now, if you're one of my regular readers, you'll know that I do like to keep active. And although I love this, I do enjoy relaxing with a good book, I'm not one to live life with the dial pointing to slow and steady. I just stopped when I read this, like, okay, Sue, we're in the same chapter there. So you say, in saying that, I do need to be more mindful of not overdoing it. And so some of us could fall prey to that. So you have this recharge and thrive, 7 types of rest every woman needs. I found it completely riveting. You may not know them off the top, but physical rest, emotional, mental, sensory, social, and creative. Talk to us about some of these important aspects of rest and types of rest, please.
Sure. Well, yes, I am someone that lives at the more extreme end of the dial. But as I said, as you age, you have to accept that your body is getting older. You have to accept that your needs and requirements change. And that doesn't mean that you give up on life. It doesn't mean that you say, I'm too old to do this now. It just means finding that little bit more balance in your life. So we all know that sleep is something that is so important for our bodies, because we, the various levels of sleep that we have during the night, part of that is about regenerating our body, our muscles, and as well as our cognitive health as well. So getting a good night's sleep, we all know that. But a couple of those other points, which some of my readers pointed out that they hadn't thought about, was the creativity.
I love that.
Now, sometimes we can get caught up in, the creative process, and we might be just overthinking things or just pushing ourselves too hard, and you hit that block.
Yes.
And you think, I can't do this anymore. But it just means that you've got to have a rest from that. You've got to rest your brain and your mind. You've got to pull back and do something that is not going to really be too taxing on your mind. And that for me then is going and reading a book. I love to carve out time in my day to just relax. Usually in the afternoons, I get everything done before that, and then in the afternoon I take time out to relax with a good book. And sometimes it's a book that, it might be a cozy crime, or it might be something where you don't have to really think too hard, because that way you're relaxing, you're totally just relaxing into it. The other thing is social. We can get so, we look at our calendar, it's so booked up. And even this week and next week, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh, I think you've sort of overbooked yourself here. So now these days, in the past, I would have just pushed through. But these days I go, no, that's not going to be good for me. So I then just rearrange the schedule, because there is really nothing that is set in stone in our diary. Well, mostly, I'd say 95%. But, like there are things that, and you talk to people and say, look, I just can't make it this day. Can we do it some other time? And people understand that. So I think we feel as if, one, we've got to be able to show that we're social, because that is good for our health. But too much, getting out and about and not enough time to balance that with just relaxing with your own quiet time can be harmful to us.
I think you're raising a very good point, and it's very clear to me and most of us that in doing so, Sue, you really are kind of giving your friends license to do the same thing when their schedule overloads. And we learn from each other. So it's like, all right, we're just boring through, and yet, you don't come to each of these events then once you just say, bear down, say, all right, I'm going to do it, because I said I would. I mean, that's kind of been a mantra of mine. My word is my bond. If I say I'm going to do it. And yet, absent that, I mean, I just had an appointment this morning that I rescheduled from like about a week and a half ago. Oh, was I so glad I did. Boy, it was rich this morning. It was full. It was vibrant for both of us. And I remember the state I was in when it was originally scheduled. And so this is like a perfect example. All right. So then you talk about a sensory risk. Put this on do not disturb, right?
Oh, we are so governed by this. And look, I'm guilty. I'm on here with you. I've got the phone that's switched off at the moment. I've got a watch that tells me to stand every hour. And, like I'm just governed by it all. So sometimes you just have to rebel and say, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to stand when you tell me I'm not doing this. But, I think we've just been caught up, and it, even women in their 60s and 70s, let's be honest, a lot of us do follow social media, and we do get caught up in that. And, oh, I've got to post something and I've got to make sure that it looks great and that it looks as though I'm having a fantastic life, even when I'm not, feeling that way. We put that pressure on ourselves, and we start also just getting back to what I said then about feeling like we have to promote this lifestyle that we've got. Life's not like that. And we look and we compare ourselves, which is the worst thing you can do. We look at someone, we go, oh, look at what she's doing. Now, there's two ways to do that. You can look at someone and be inspired by them. And that's what I do. I look at someone and I go, oh, look what she's doing. Now, I don't then go, oh, my life isn't as good as what hers is.
Yes. Yes.
I look at it and I go, look what she's doing. That's inspiring me. Now, I probably am not going to go bungee jumping like she did, but I would like to do this. So that's prompted me and inspired me to do something else. But, you know, getting away from technology, getting out into nature, just having time for you. We just don't make time to sit with ourselves and really feel how we are, check in with how we're feeling mentally, physically, spiritually. We don't make that time because a lot of people are just scrolling. They can't move without this new appendage that we've got. So, you know, I think we all need to have, like, I'm trying on Sundays to just, I'm not, you know, that's it. I'm not looking at anything. I'm not looking at emails. I'm not looking at social, and just trying to have at least one day. But then it's good to have a social detox as well, you know, where you just don't. And surprisingly, life still goes on.
I was just going to say, and as last I checked, the Earth is still turning on its axis.
It is.
So I looked up just so that I could share this with our audience, at least if you're carrying an iPhone, which I carry. So you swipe from the top right and you swipe down. Oh, now I'm going to a podcast I was just listening to. You swipe down and you get to this, I think it's called the control panel. I don't know what it's called, but anyway, it's the whole thing. And on my phone, at least, it says focus, right? Middle on the left-hand side, focus, you hit it. And now there's a whole bunch of things. Do not disturb completely. And then notifications and various, and I'm driving 63 ways a Sunday for 1 hour until I say go, do not pass, go, do not collect 200, whatever. So that's the way you do it in an iPhone, or you could turn it off. But if you have a number of devices, like sometimes I'll have, I got a new device and then the notifications were going off and I was like in the middle of something. It's like, all right. So we want to be in control of that. So I love these rests: physical rest, emotional rest, mental rest, sensory rest, social rest, creative rest, and then spiritual rest. Wow. How about us connecting into something, someone bigger than ourselves? How rich is that, Sue?
And I think that, you know, you have to find your own spiritual guidance. There's the traditional religions and so forth that people follow. And I think that's important too, because I think there's a lot of community, you know, in having that spiritual guidance by going to a more formal religion or something. But you can have that spiritual experience just coming out in nature. And you really have to think there's got to be something bigger to live in this beautiful natural world that we have. And we need to be looking after that as well. So the spiritual growth, and that's looking at who you are as a person as well, how you treat others. And, you know, for me, what you give out is what you get back. So it's no good sort of waiting for someone to come and be kind to you or do good things for you. Lead by example. If you've got that spirituality, you're going to be more giving, and you know, you're not just thinking about yourself the whole time. You've got a more open view.
Completely. And it's particularly important, I think, that when we're in a stressful situation, which we are in the United States of America right now. I remember, and I don't know if it was Gandhi, but someone asked a major spiritual guru, well, how often should I meditate? And the answer was, well, okay, about an hour a day. But if you're really stressed, 2 hours. That was not the answer that the questioner wanted, because it was so profound, right? And so I think for us to draw into ourselves, I mean, we do have the answers within, and yet, you know, I certainly believe in a God. It's not a elderly white bearded man in the sky, I can assure you of that. Yet I am so buoyed by the fact that there is something else, something larger,
Yeah.
and it knows no bounds. And so I tap into that a lot, as well as I tap into talking with people that have passed. And I feel that I get a lot of good guidance from them. So let's talk about, sometimes people struggle with limiting beliefs, like I'm too old, it's too late. And so how do you invite your clients to shift their mindset, break free from those self-limiting, self-imposed limitations, and move forward to something much more healthy and vibrant?
Yes, well, we all have those, don't we? And you know, I probably have my fair share of them as well. And it isn't easy to overcome. So I think you have to acknowledge that. You have to go back to the source. You have to think about why you feel you can't do that, or I'm too old. Is it something that you've been taught, which a lot of times now, when I go back, and I'm not, I mean, I had a great childhood. I love my parents. Unfortunately, they both passed quite early. And so I think this week it was 44 years since my dad passed away. But they were very overprotective.
Yes.
So that made me feel as if I can't go out into the world. And the, you know, lack of self-confidence, things like that. And it took me to my 50s, 60s even to feel that I could get past that. So it's something that's not going to happen overnight, because you've been carrying all these limiting beliefs with you for years.
Yes.
And so you can't say, like I said before with the weights, you can't pick up and say, well, I've never done weight training, I'm going to pick up a 10-kilo weight.
Yes.
You have to start making peace with yourself, I think. And you have to accept who you are. It doesn't mean that you can't change. Now, this week I had written about reinventing yourself. Now, a
Yes.
lot of women go, well, I don't want to reinvent and make myself a new person. But for me, it was all about reinventing you, not a new you. It's who you are. We lose sight of who we are because we're holding ourselves back with all these negative thoughts, and they are powerful. So, what you have to do, which isn't easy, is to just try and just do little steps. Think about something you would like to do,
Yes.
and then you'll say to yourself, like, for example, I started a podcast.
Yeah.
Now, I, in my own mind, was very nervous about that. And I even had people saying, why do you want to do that? Who's going to listen to you? But deep down, I was thinking, I really would like to try this. So I think you've got to have the attitude that I had was when I finally pressed the publish button. What's the worst that can happen?
I
The
love
worst that can happen is nobody listens. But as we said before, the world still keeps turning. So I think you have to try, and the way to overcome it is to try one little thing. Start with something small, overcome that, and then build on that and start believing in yourself. I'm sure if you ask your friends, they will tell you all these positive things about yourself while you're saying, oh, no, that's not me, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. We listen to the mean girl in our head who tells us that we aren't capable, and we have to try and push her out and start thinking, well, if they think that about me, my friends, why don't I believe that? So
Yeah.
it's really a lot of self, um, looking at yourself, introspection, and really coming to terms with who you are, but also who you want to be, what your purpose is. Because I think if we've got a purpose, that helps us to overcome all
Oh,
those limiting beliefs, because we're driving towards that purpose that we feel we want to be doing.
So, so solid, Sue. And then you compare, and I love this when I read it. You compare building healthy habits to planting a garden, seeding. What is our purpose? We want a garden, we want fruits, vegetables, flowers. And how are we going to get it? We're going to seed, then we're going to water, and we're going to tend, and we're going to be intentional. But talk with us through that analogy, because I'm a queen of analogies and I love that analogy. Talk with us.
Well, I sort of came up with that to feel to sort of align with my bloom.
Yes,
So, and I call it the garden method for cultivating sustainable, healthy habits. Because for me, having that health basis, health and wellness to me is the foundation.
yes,
Living well is more than just physical fitness.
yes.
But unless we have that mind, body, spirit, health, and wellness, we're not going to be able to do the things we want to do in life. So we need to start with that. We need to have that health and wellness vision. You talk about having a financial vision for being able to do what you want to do with life. You need that financial basis. With a health and wellness vision, we have vision boards. We want to travel. We want to do this and that. But if we don't have our health, then we're not going to be able to. So you need to have that vision. That's the seed. And why do I want to be healthy? Why do I want to look after my health and wellness? Why do I want to make that a priority? That's the seed. And then the habits that you form
That's it.
are the soil, the water, the sunlight that helps that vision to grow and to remain strong. And so, if we're talking about, for example, um, our health and wellness vision, that means we need to look at our physical health, nourish and move. So that means eating well. They're things we all know, Deborah. They're not like rocket science. It's things that we all know, but sometimes we just forget about taking that time to think about what's right for us. So
Right.
we need to look at our nutrition. We need to look at our movement, and moving and doing something that you enjoy will help you build that habit of regular exercise,
Yes.
regular moving your body. We need to, and that's got to be a non-negotiable. Every day, whether it's 10 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, you must move your body. Move it or lose it, they say.
Yes. Yes.
So we've got to build these habits. And I don't really like the word habit. I like to think of it as a lifestyle. I
Nice.
think that if it's a lifestyle, this is how I'm choosing to live my life. That sounds to me, I think people are going to be more encouraged by that than saying, oh, this is a habit you have to get
Yeah. Yeah.
into.
Yeah.
But if you put the things in place, the habits just become part of your lifestyle.
Right.
And that will, you're not going to look at it, oh, I've got to do this or I have to do that. Because as soon as we do that, we're going, I really don't want to do that and I'll give up. It's
Yeah.
more about always coming back to your why. Why am I eating healthy? Why am I moving my body? Why am I trying to cultivate a positive mindset, which is important as well? Um, Fostering our connections and building our resilience. All these things come up to, building little foundations, and then we're going to bloom. Our plant is going to grow. We're going to just, yeah, be in full bloom if we have those foundations in place.
I am so resonant with that in the, sometimes when people go on a diet, it's kind of like, well, I shouldn't eat this. And of course, at a nickel, you're going to eat it. And yet if we shift into a lifestyle and we hold the vision, okay, whatever it is, if you want to drop weight, or if you want to be stronger, or if you want to fit into this piece of clothing, or you want to keep up with your kids or grandkids on the floor and play with them, regardless, I want us to keep that goal in mind, and then the actions that are
Yes,
necessary to bring that about. Now, it'll be unique with every person, and yet, generally speaking, these actions that you've laid out for us are very, very wise. The cardio, the balance, the reaching, the lifting our body weight first, then other ways. So, talk with us about this, the whole aspect of planning and funding dream travels, because I'm all about that. I ask people, what's your why? Why are we investing? And I want people to give themselves, and then me or whomever's advising, what is the target, right? So if we have always like, someday I'll go to Hawaii. Well, you know what? I've been across, in front of caskets with survivors that said, oh, we were going to go to Hawaii,
Mm.
and I wanted to be more mobile, and now I have such arthritis. Let's learn from people that we've known that have not aged well. Let's reverse engineer that and do what we can today, because it's possible and plausible to plant seeds even now. Yes, it
Oh,
is.
it's never too late. Never too late to start. But also something else that I like and I say quite often is, if not now, when?
That's it.
Because we aren't guaranteed tomorrow. I've just had over the last couple of weeks, I had some sad news about it was a friend of my daughter's, one of the mums from school. She's got two little boys, probably 7 and 9, something like that, 7 and 10, and 40, and she's passed away. Now, she had cancer, but the thing is, there's a 40-year-old with two little children, a husband, and her life was cut short. Now, for us, as I said, in our 60s and beyond, we are grateful for the life that we've still got, but we shouldn't be taking it for granted. So you've got to, for yourself and for others, you've got to get out there and stay active and have these plans, have these dreams, and not hold yourself back by saying, I'm too old. Because we're not. We can, unless you've got some sort of really debilitating physical, um, issue,
Limitation, right? Yeah, exactly.
limitation, you can do things. Of course, there are things that you might choose not to do, and that's fine. As I said before, I'm never going to do bungee jumping, and I don't feel as if I'm, inadequate by saying that.
Because of it.
But
I love
but
that. That's the self-confidence we need, Sue. It's like, you don't have to do the whole buffet, for the love of God. People go to a buffet and they like load their plate up. And like, if you were ordering from the menu, you would not order all that stuff, right? So let's be focused in on exactly what we want on the menu of life. And if we want longevity and vitality as we age, what are we doing to bring it about? Are we just like imagining that we're going to wave this magic wand, right? It's not happening that way. But let's talk about, I think it was Atomic Habits, where they said, if you're adopting a new activity or a habit or a new action, attach it to something that's already an everyday event. And you got a
yes.
much better chance of that happening. So talk to us about how you might suggest this to your clients.
Well, this is a fun thing. You're waiting for the kettle to boil to make a coffee or whatever. So you just do 10 squats while you're waiting, or you do some push-ups on the bench, little things like that. Because the other thing is, sometimes we can get caught in I don't feel like doing it, or I'm not feeling very energetic. But the surprising thing is that once you get up and move, you just feel so good after it. And you think, why? So, for example, you might say, oh, I've got to do a workout today. I don't feel like it. Why not say to yourself, okay, I'm going to put my shoes on. I'm going to go for a 5-minute walk. You'll find that you'll go for a 20-minute walk because you're
Absolutely.
out there.
Absolutely.
And your body, you feel good. And look, we all get that way. I know myself, I think, oh, I don't feel it today.
Yeah.
But once I get into it and I finish it, I go, oh, I'm so pleased I did that, because that builds the energy, that builds the vitality, and then you can go and do so many other things. So I think that we've got to be able to do that. Another thing, cleaning your teeth, and you might stand on one leg to help you balance. You
Love
try
that.
doing that and see if you can, because balance is so important as we age. We need to maintain our balance to help us if we fall or something like that. We've got to be able to have those quick reactions. So little things like that, or yeah, just doing something every day and thinking, well, okay, I'm going to do this, and then aligned with that, I'm going to do that. And then it becomes the habit. The other thing that people do is try to plan out so much and have so many goals and so many steps that they get to the first one and it gets too hard and overwhelming. They don't know where to start. They start to procrastinate and then they give up entirely. So baby steps.
Yes. Yes.
Baby steps along the way. Just choose one thing you might want to change. It might be, I'm going to go for a 5-minute walk every day. Just start with that. Or I'm going to drink more water. I'm going to stay hydrated. Or I'm going to try and cut out some processed foods. Like that's what we've been doing in the Facebook group. And we've got a lady here today who's she's one of the group, and she is just fantastic at the ultra processed food she's given up, and we've been doing that in the group. So don't say, well, I'm going to clear out my whole cupboard. Just, I don't know, just replace one thing with a healthy alternative and build up on that, and you'll find after a while that the healthy alternatives do taste good, but they also make you feel better. Then you go back to having something not quite so healthy and you think, oh, my body's rebelling a bit here. It wants the good stuff.
And that's a beautiful sign. That's a beautiful sign of progress. Yeah, the serotonin release. I mean, we can talk about the physiological aspects. This all makes sense. That to your point, oh, I don't feel like it, especially like if you live in a climate, a place where they're like Northeast, as I am in the snow and the ice, and you're not interested in going outside. But I tell you, I would always and do still put tennis shoes out right in the bathroom with my sweatpants. So I finish in the bathroom and I have my shoes, my socks, my sweatpants on, and then I leave the bathroom and I put whatever the top is in a sweatshirt, and I go downstairs and I have a little elliptical downstairs and I just do it. But if I didn't have the shoes right there, and
no, that's right,
it could open itself up to me saying, oh, let's see what's on Facebook, God forbid. So I think that preparation is about 85%, is it not, right?
Oh, very much so. And I also do that with planning my week, or, like I'll have what I want to do in my workout. So I don't go, oh, what am I going to do today?
That's good.
Then I just, I'll say I won't bother. So what I do is I'll say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm doing this. Tuesday, Thursday, I'm doing that. Saturday, I always go for a run with my friend. Sunday is my rest day. So you've got to incorporate that in as well. But if I look at my diary, it's the way I live my life. That's just me. Might not work for others, but it works for me because I look at it and I go, okay, this is what I've got on. And if I've got something on my list, I need to tick it off. That's just me. So if you've got it there front and center, other people might use a calendar on the wall, something like that, because if you write it down, you're more likely to do it as well.
Totally. So I'll share something. When I was in practice, and I still do it sometimes, but certainly when I was in practice as a financial planner, and I would get a prospective client on the other side of the desk, and I would look at them and I would like age them 20 years. I'd just take a split second. I'd just keep looking at them and I'd age them 20 years because see, my Zoom is whacked down, just went right out of the picture. And so I imagine them older. And that was really good for me because I was always in it for the long term, right? So if we're imagining a new chapter in our life where we're going to be more attentive and intentional about exercise, movement, for example, weight training and resistance, then I think it's incumbent upon us to imagine ourselves a little bit older and we're still doing resistance. We're still standing on one leg. I'll add one more little, and I'm not a fitness coach, but it always helps me on balancing, so that I've never done that with brushing my teeth. So I'll do that. Brushing your teeth, go on one leg and shut your eyes.
Oh, shutting your eyes, that will really test your balance. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you've got to be able to just as as I've said, just do things to make it become a lifestyle. And that's, if you look at it that way, I choose to do this, and this is because I want to be able to travel. I want to play with the grandkids. I want to be able to just live independently for as long as I can. I don't want to be a burden on other people. So, there's so many reasons why you need to stay healthy.
Yes. Now I'm rewinding. You started walking and I started running, I guess. Did you start walking and then you graduated to running, or you just started running?
Well, just going right back, when I was younger, from 14 till I was about 30, I had a ballet school. So I'd always done dancing and ballet, tap, jazz, all of that. And then, you get married, you have children, so therefore you can't keep up as much. And so when I got to 50, I'd sort of been a bit, sort of not too regimented in my uh, workouts and things like that. But when I got to 50, I was working in the office with a young group of girls, and they said to me, "We've booked you into boot camp." And I said, well, at that time, I was 49, that's right. And I said, well, do you realize how old I am? See, I had that old mindset then. I'm too old. And they didn't look at me as an age. They said, no, we've booked you in. So I went along. I couldn't do a push-up when I started. And 6 weeks later, I could do push-ups, and they gave me the most improved award, probably because I was the grandmother of the group in there.
Love that.
And so they weren't content with that, the girls. They said, okay, let's start running. Now, I'd never been an athletic person. I was never the person chosen for the school teams. I hated the physical education classes. It just wasn't me. Yeah. And I said to them, look, I can't run. And they, again, limiting beliefs. I can't run. So they said, yes, you can, come on. So I started off where I would, we have, lamp posts along the way. So I'd walk, then I'd jog, then I'd walk, and then I'd jog. And each week or each couple of weeks, whatever, I would be able, found that I was doing less walking and more running. So again, it's that I didn't say I'm going to run a marathon. I just said, oh gosh, I'll be lucky to get to the end of this 1 kilometer or something, So they did that. Then we got into the fun runs. Let's do a 5K. Let's do a 10K. And then, of course, I came up and said, let's do a half marathon because I couldn't help myself. But, that's how I started with the running. And I'm never going to win world records, but for me it was so much more than just about the running. When I went for that first marathon, it was more about proving to myself what I could do, and not to, it could have been anything, but it was proving to myself, wow, look at what I've just done. And I never thought I would be able to do that. And so those limiting beliefs can always get in your way. You're fighting against them all along, but that's it. So yeah, I was never, in fact, now I'm probably in the best shape I've ever been since I was about 20. So, in the in-between stages weren't so great. So I'm just a normal person, but I'm doing things that I enjoy, and I just love it when I hear other people doing that as well.
Well, you've certainly been a model for that, Sue. And I love that you're bringing out these friendships, right? Because we're here in the We Can Do It Women Facebook group, and in the larger movement, if you will, in order to collaborate and support each other. And it's when we can be in relationship with each other that feeling of I'm all alone, no one's going to notice if I don't do it. Wait a minute, there's some accountability here, right? Nobody's sitting there like, being punitive. And yet there's this camaraderie. Hey, you can do it. Come on, Sue. And you're like, maybe not. But if 3 or 4 people say, Sue, you got this, then you pop in. And I want to remind each and every one of us, we've all done things we didn't think we could do it. Like I asked the question and like, you know, when did you know the rules of soccer? You didn't until your granddaughter bounded in the door and said, I made the soccer team. And pretty soon you're calling offsides from the stands. So, you know, don't say you can't do something just because you never did it before. If we have a passion to take care of ourselves, to last physically, mentally, spiritually for the long haul, and we put actions in place toward that goal, no matter that it's different one day from another person's routine, this is the substance of us planting our gardens so that we can continue to be blooming in every season, Sue. And I can't thank you enough. Do you want to tell us maybe one story, if you will, of a client that you have worked with and coached that made such a huge difference that she probably shocked herself?
Yes, you know, well, I'll talk generally because this is with quite a few. They start and they say they can't do something, and I think that what I've found in the Facebook group that we've got going now, I love the collaboration as you were talking about, and you know, everyone is supporting each other in this daily movement and living as a healthy life as we can. And you know, someone might come in and go, oh my goodness, I've just been able to I was able to sit down in my friend's couch down low and get up. Now this woman is you know, she's carrying a little bit of extra weight, or a lot of weight actually, but she's improving every week. And then being able to say, hey, I was able to do that and I haven't been able before. I fit into that chair that I haven't been able to do. You know, they're the little things that you start seeing in your life that, you know, and then you just feel so good for that person, because they're feeling good about themselves, and it just needs one little thing.
That's exactly right. When we overcome barriers, or we bust through barriers, there's such a joy, and that joy is contagious. And so when one sister shares something, it buoys the rest of us. And I am completely an advocate of us being We Can Do It women for ourselves, first and foremost ourselves. And then once our cup is filled to overflowing, and then giving from the saucer, because there's a lot of encouragement that is needed right now for women around the world. And there are a lot of us with some excess that we can afford to give. And if it's flashing a smile or a thumbs up or an atta girl in the Facebook for people signifying their next steps and their successes, I say let's be at this and continue to buoy ourselves and our sisters, because we're in this together. Individually, we're powerful. Together, we are unstoppable.
Yes, that's exactly right. And could I just say on that point, surrounding yourself with cheerleaders and like-minded people. Now, we go through life and our friendships change, and sometimes, you know, we've got people in our life that unfortunately are just not on the same page anymore, and they can be dragging you down. It's those sort of relationships. It's not easy, but if you'll find that if you start seeking people who have got the same, you know, aligned with you in what you're thinking, they're going to build you up. You're going to build them up. And, you know, you'll find that you gradually change your groups of who your tribe is. And unfortunately, those that don't want to support you won't come along. They were right for whatever time they were in your life, but now you've got something for yourself, and you need to surround yourself with those positive cheerleaders who are going to be there when you struggle, but as well as when you succeed.
Couldn't agree more. And I think sometimes we think, oh, I can't really tell Ruth that I'm not going to, you know, meet with her twice a week. Anyway, I think you just keep doing your life, and Ruth's going to see the hypothetical, or the Ruths are going to see you're vibrant and you're smiling and you're, you know, you have a spring in your step. And either the Ruths will see that as impetus to follow suit and join you in this next chapter, or Ruth will fade away. It's likely you're not even going to have to say to Ruth, hey, Ruth, you're just not, you're not keeping up with me. And so I'm choosing here. You just do your life, and the Ruths and the other people around us will either emulate us and that new energy, or they'll fade away. And I don't think there's going to be a confrontation, frankly. So don't be afraid of it.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing you just said, that do your life. We there's not going to be too many more sunsets. Hopefully we've got, a few, but we have to remember that, life is not infinite. And if you've got to start living today and be true to yourself and do what you want to do. That's not easy, and it's not always, possible at times, but you must at least carve out some sort of life for yourself and to get that fulfillment, because otherwise, what are we living for?
Well, Sue Loncaric, I have been so enriched in this conversation, and I know our sisters have as well. I thank you so very much for joining us, and thank you, viewers, for joining us on the We Can Do It Women show. Remember, I see you. I value you. And your greatest chapter is just beginning. If today's episode sparks something in you, I invite you to join our vibrant We Can Do It Women Facebook group via the link in the description. There's also show notes describing how you can follow and stay in touch with Sue. And if you may be experiencing any type of overwhelm, touch base with us. I am happy to speak with anybody, because this is a time when we are going to be each other's ears, eyes, and voices, and invite each of you to use your voice for that which you value. And until next time, I'm Debra Morrison, reminding you it's never too late to shine, and pay attention to your money, and it will surely pay you back. Until next time, good day.